Well, without further ado, guys, we'll get you into round 3 against, with Void Boys versus Gucci. As Gucci was able to advance out of the last round, this is the halfway mark of the tournament, as there will be a total of 6 rounds. And of course, as always, I'll be joined with @NizCast to give you guys some insight both into the draft and into Dota itself. But this match is shaping up to be very exciting in my book. Of course, Gucci, decently well-known team throughout the scene. Decently well-known name, but Void Boys. While their team name is not very well known, the players themselves, there are quite a few in there that are definitely common names throughout the upper NA scene. Pat Soul being the main one who sticks out to me.
Yeah, I believe one of them is Bian as well.
Oh,
so,
okay, Bian's friends, or Bian and friends, or whatever.
Yeah, but
oh God, lost them so many times.
they've played by the name Void Boys a few times in SCS. Yeah, they've done relatively well on all the times they've done so, but they do ban out Void first with first pick. That hurts. You know, when you pick a name, you just gotta go with it every game.
Well, I mean, unless it's banned, but they didn't put banned in front of it. But they do pick up the Prophet and the Tidehunter.
No Void.
No Void, ban Void,
doesn't have the
screw
same
Void.
It doesn't have the same ring as no Tidehunter or no Earth Spirit.
No, it's definitely true. Definitely true, but to the substantive parts of this draft, we have the Disruptor and Brewmaster picked up by the side of Gucci. Now, of course, Disruptor, Hawaii. Last game, my personal MVP, but he was playing Disruptor, and any player who plays Disruptor well is going to get my MVP badge. Brewmaster, absolutely great hero, and like you harped on many times, and I couldn't have said better. And if you guys want to hear Niz talk about it in the last cast, about how Disruptor is an amazing hero when it comes to disrupting fights, creating chaos. You have 2 heroes now on the side of Gucci that do that very well, Brewmaster and Disruptor. But whereas on the side of Void Boys, we have a more diverse and interesting draft. We have a Prophet who has good global presence to assist in ganks, to split push across the map and still attend fights. And of course Tidehunter. Ravage, a big game-changing spell, and also one of the most durable off-lanes in the game, which makes another question. Who's the off-lane? But before I let you answer, Niz, we do have a Core Silencer, Slark banned out by Gucci, Bat Rider and Centaur banned out by Void Boys. So, yeah, what do you think about that Tidehunter and Prophet together?
Well, you don't know. It could be Ultra Greed, and Furion could be jungling, and Tidehunter could be off-lane.
The 4 that's actually the 1, or tries to be.
It could be Tidehunter safe lane. It could be Tidehunter support. It could be Tidehunter mid. It could be a whole bunch of things.
With the Visage,
you could always have just said, you know what, we'll pick the Tidehunter and we'll put it mid against the Brewmaster. Well, Ember Spirit came out. That's out the window.
Brew is definitely could be carry or off lane, or Ember could be carry, Brew could be mid. But I was going to say, I think the Ultra Greedy route is off the window when you pick a Visage. I don't know how about you feel when you draft, but when I pick a Visage, he needs to be the 4, 100%, and you're not going to 5.
He can't be the 5.
Yeah, so Visage definitely lets us know that they're planning to core the Tide and the Prophet, support the Visage. Obviously, Disruptor support, Brew core, Ember core, but like you said about the Tidehunter and the Prophet is 100% true with the Brew and the Ember. You have no idea which lane these heroes are going to go in, because they can both do every lane minus Ember offlaning. I think Ember offlane is very poor, and there's really no logic to it because of the way the hero works. He isn't a ganking level dependent hero. He's a very farm and level dependent hero, which is why he's favored for the mid lane, but also can work as a carry. Darkseer is definitely going to be their offlane, so Brew mid or carry. And Drow, Visage, so we're looking at a little bit of a EE-inspired draft over here. Of course, Nature's Prophet is also ranged. His treants don't get the buff, but the range creeps in the wave do, and so does the bird. So Visage is most likely going to become the hidden core of this team if they do plan to play it out like EE and Cloud9. Of course, then Owie 2000 focuses a lot more on securing farm with his birds earlier on in the game and forgoing the ability to gank with them and put pressure on them that way. because he values the pickup of the Ags, and for the obvious reason that one more bird with the aura is a lot more than a total of 2 birds. Last bans will be Jakiro and Rubik targeted towards that support, as both teams are limited down to support picks. Skywrath Mage, last pick
How the
of...
hell did Skywrath
Yeah.
make it this far?
That's I mean, Niz,
What?
you said it as well said as needs to be said. Moving on. Skywrath Mage is a great hero.
What does Void Boys pick?
I mean, how, as a drafter, if we have, I guess, yeah, we have some time, and they might use some of their time, so I guess I'll prompt a question to you. How greedy, or sorry, how, when you have drafted a Visage, or a hero like Visage, how much does your other support need to be like I can do what I need to do with no farm in your mind? Like how often, like how much does that influence your decision making, or what is your...
I was saying you either go Venge here or Sand King. And Sand King's really weird, but that's actually how we used to play Visage. We used to play because I was typically our 5 player, and I would also play our Visage. And even though, well, I actually used to play like 6 on the team.
Yeah, the infamous Niz roll.
Yeah, but yeah, what we actually used to do is basically Indy would start off playing the 4, and we'd basically let him get his core, and then he would rotate out of that, and I would rotate kind of into like a 4.5 roll, almost a 4 roll on the Visage.
And then
get
catch
more
up
farm.
as the game goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of would work with the Sand King. We didn't actually run that combo, but that's how I could have seen it working out this game. But they do go with the Venge. Venges, of course, can play 5. I prefer Venge as a 4, but Venge can play 5 perfectly well, and it will pair up very well with the other heroes on this team. The minus armor is great. The additional stun, which is something that this team needed, that's why I suggested the Sand King. But the minus armor, the swap, everything's really good
And
on this
she's
Venge in
ranged.
this game.
And
Right,
also
'cause-
she scales well. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why you like to see her as a 4. But if it goes late enough,
Right.
even the 5 gets a lot of farm. But we'll go ahead and forgo talking about the lineups a little bit, as we will move into the introductions. Of course, over here for the Radiant side, we have Void Boys, who I'm not entirely sure, but Bayern's team was the most previous lineup that I know they were under. But anyways, they are, of course, Void Boys now, and for them, the captain, the drafter, Pat Sol, the Drow Ranger, going to probably be mid or carry. We have Omega Poner, going to be picking up the Visage support. We have Mercy Please, picking up that Tidehunter off lane. We have Appreciate, or Appreciatee, and picking up the Vengeful support. And finally, Fly, going to be either playing that carry Prophet or mid Prophet.
Alright. I also want to point out, just look in the Void Boys fountain.
My thanks.
That looks awesome, the Void face. Anyways, on the Dire side,
Also that Tide set.
we
Go
have
Raptors approved.
Gucci. Playing the Brewmaster is Kiwi. Playing the Darkseer is Little Mag. No Mirana in this game for him to eat a bunch of arrows. But we have Hawaii on the Disruptor. Once again, look for a big performance from him. We have Super Hot Fire on the Ember Spirit, and we got GKTA on the Skywrath Mage. Smoke coming out from them as well as they're rushing down into the Radiant Jungle.
Well, now, where last game, we have a moment to talk about this. Last game, I felt like but one team had a glaring...
Oh,
never mind.
No.
Appreciate.
it's good.
Appreciate. You are...
No, he's not. Oh, no.
God, you are... Oh, God. Oh,
Help!
God. Cover your eyes. Shield the children. Oh, God. As the blood of Vengeful Spirit will
Oh,
be
the
spewed
boots!
across the lane. The boots are good. The tango's better. And you know what?
What?
If you guys were covering your eyes for that, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. I shouldn't have said that. Vengeful Spirit gets away. First blood averted. But last game, one team was far weaker in the late game, and one team was far weaker in the earlier mid game. And what that means is that one team has a timing to win the game, the other team has to survive the timing and make it to the later portions of the game. In this game, I feel as though both teams are relatively even matched up at both stages. It's just a question of how they play their lineups and how well they use the strengths of their lineups. I don't know if you feel like one team has like more strength in any portion of the game, but I feel like it's very even at every portion.
I agree with you on that, 100%. I don't think there's a specific timing.
They are doing an aggressive tri-lane with an Ember, and this is something we never see. Again, I don't know how I feel about this, but it can work out.
We experimented with this a little bit when Ember was first added to Captain's mode, kind of going aggro with him, but our consensus was it does not work. So we'll wait and see how this works out for them.
Yeah, right clicks going on to GKTA. Of course, ownage power on that Visage. One very nice thing about Visage, and I also like he hasn't gotten any skill points, but Niz can talk on that. But the Visage attack range is just so nice for harassing in lane.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, Grave Chill helps you set something up, and that's going to allow you to get the Venge stun off. But if Venge is able to get a stun, then you want Soul Assumption. You're not going to need the Grave Chill. You want the damage. But if they go on Dro, then you're going to want the Soul Assumption, because the Grave Chill most likely isn't going to save Dro. But if there is a situation where it will, then you want the Grave Chill, right? You have to be able to read the situation. That's why you hold that skill point. And turns out he doesn't have to make the decision. He hits 2, he gets both of them.
And notice also they're taking great advantage, and there's no pressure from Gucci right now. This is one thing I really don't like coming out of Gucci. Their tri-lane has done nothing to shut down this pull. So Vengeful Spirit, yeah, GKTA is coming over here to sap experience now, but the entire tri-lane of the Radiant side is level 2, whereas the other side is just barely level 1.5, barely hitting level 2 on the instance of the Skywrath Mage. But of course, if you go over to the Disruptor, he's also barely not even level 2 yet. So they have a lot of access to a lot more, and the Glimpse back actually is going on to Ownage Power. Hawaii probably will fall up first here. We'll see. Right clicks. Is it enough? No. Hawaii gets the turnaround headshot. Now Super Hot Fire, the chase going on to Pat Soul. Pat Soul is actually in big trouble. The shield, the Ember shield, Flame shield, doing so much, and now Appreciate going to fall as well. And where I thought Visage was the king of tri-lanes, with a good glimpse and some great plays, 1,000 gold and 2 minutes of play goes to the side of the Dire, as well as 5,000 experience to this tri-lane, which is all level 3s now, and this is a big deal, Niz. This is a big deal.
I didn't see the start to all that, but wow, that turned around, and that went bad real quick. Because Radiant was definitely favored in this tri-lane.
They're going to try to go for the cat. No, they decide not to go for it, and with perfect information, I think they should have. But again, they're not in the observer position. They don't have perfect information. In the mid lane, though, Fly able to outskill. It looks like the Brewmaster. Again, not sure who he is, but Kiwi is what he is known as. There really is no way that Nature's Prophet gets that kill without it being like an outskill or like a mistake from
Brew is like up here.
It must have been a good spread. I mean, but again, even if you were the best player in the world at Prophet, if you were against a average skill Brewmaster or a decent enough skill level, you wouldn't die, and Hawaii is going to be able to get the kill on, the Vengeful Spirit. We're also going to see the Draw Ranger fall, as this is just going absolutely horrible for them. The chase continues on to GKTA, as there is now 3 heroes for the Radiant here with the TP from the Prophet. They do get the kill onto the Vengeful Spirit off of the back of this, and they might be able to get out with only 1 loss in total. In fact, the Courier even goes down to 525 net worth. I wasn't sure what's on that, but probably boots and something else. And now 3 heroes from the Radiant are back here, trying to loop around. Omega Ponage going to be able to get away, but doesn't look like Fly's going to be so lucky. Super Hot Fire is actually the first one to go down. Now Hawaii, man mode versus Fly. Arcane Bolt going to be able to clean that up. Teammate comes to secure it, GKTA. But now Appreciate's back, and I think that GKTA is in big trouble. There's the Halter to give vision. Right clicks are going to be more than enough, and when you have 0 base armor, with -3, right clicks do a ton to you. But yeah, what I was trying to say before is I just don't feel like Brewmaster should die to Nature's Prophet, and I don't feel like Prophet should ever die to Brewmaster until Split's active. And then it's like kind of a skill thing. But yeah, that was, I don't know what happened in middle lane, but the action in bottom lane has been intense. But Void Boys, I think they got more out of that than the Dire side. I wish I would have clicked the thing, the show fight recap. I got to get much better at that. Sorry, guys.
The show fight recap was really like spread out. It didn't encompass the whole fight.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Stun, middle lane. Maybe they get the kill on this, but split is active, so no chance.
In one sense, yeah, they kind of got a little bit more, but they lost the Venge early, and Fly was down there for a long time, running around. Meanwhile, Kiwi was just chilling mid, getting his CS and whatever. And now Kiwi's 10 CS ahead of Fly in this mid lane. Oh, goodness. Oof.
Oh, that got close. Kiwi
Where
almost...
was... He could have sprouted there. That would have been a kill.
Well, chooses not to.
Well, he would have forced the sprout,
yeah,
or forced the split. It wouldn't have been a kill.
Pat's does get
Yeah.
glimpsed back. But no, I completely agree with you, Niz. But I guess I throw the question to you in this frame of thought. If he wouldn't have gone down there and stabilized this bottom lane...
Oh, it would have been real bad.
Right,
yeah.
so it was necessary
to
play.
down.
Yeah, you had to do it. So it was necessary, but obviously Kiwi did get what he needed out of it.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's easy to overlook the difference. Like, it's easy to overlook the fact that Brewmaster was farming that whole time mid, and Fly wasn't.
Well, and we haven't even really touched base in this top lane. It's kind of been quiet. Darkseer versus Tide again. Of course, we see the Darkseer slightly ahead.
Sure gets gold.
Not even significantly ahead. Both of them getting exactly the farm they need. We will have the mechanism coming out for Darkseer relatively soon. This bottom lane action has been non-stop. We have a total of 6 heroes here again as the glimpse back on to appreciate. Stun goes out on YA. A great gust. But is it going to be enough as the Fire Shield is still active? The TP is here from Mercy, please. And there's the Ravage. It's in range to catch 2. And now the TP from Fly. They're going to be able to clean up this entire tri-lane. Kiwi's going to come here to try to save things. But there is nothing to save. Only corpses. As the fight recap will show that they lost a decent amount in that. Not a ton, but a decent amount. And that's the power of the Tidehunter rotate, but also the Fly TP. Yeah, sure, the Disruptor is able to TP out, but they were able to bring an entire team here within 5 seconds. And that's a scary thing to think about. Some damage going out onto Tidehunter as the entire Dire side is actually just going to reconvene here and be able to push this out. So as much as Void Boys were able to congregate their entire team into this bottom lane, they weren't able to get much out of it besides those 2 kills. So they will go ahead and split back off into their own jobs, duties, and farms for what they need.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, that was just a really good rotation for Mercy Plays. Just kind of TPing in, using the fact that he's got Ravage and he got it relatively early in the game. And that's exactly what his tri-lane needed to get back in this game. I think they stayed around a little long trying to push that bottom tier 1. I didn't think there was really a chance of them getting it, but they tried. They got a good amount of damage on it. Got about 900 damage on it.
Ooh,
There's some pressure going on Mercy, please.
He might be in trouble. Glimpse a little bit. Hawaii a little bit trigger happy right now. Not giving Tidehunter enough time to move for Glimpse to actually be useful. But maybe they wouldn't even have been able to secure the kill under the tower anyways, so maybe a null point completely. Mercy, please, going back to base. Ravage in 45 seconds, but Visage definitely in trouble. Great Searing Chains combo with that Sleight of Fist. Of course, it's definitely slightly difficult to hit for a newer player, but in these kind of games, you need to be able to hit it every single time, because that kill wouldn't have been secured otherwise, but they did get it. And that helps swing it back, but I mean, this game has kind of gone back and forth. At the beginning, we saw the Dire side take a big advantage in that bottom lane, middle lane, top lane, even. Fly did get that kill right afterwards, so it made it kind of sort of even. And then the Dire side fired, or Radiant side fired back in a big way. And now the Dire side just got another pick off. Do you think there's a glaring advantage going right now, or do you kind of think that it's just an even game right now?
This game is still very even.
Okay. Middle lane, that might be changed right now. Concussive shot is out. Will hit. Fly TPing right now. Will he be able to get it off? The silence is there from GKTA as well as the glimpse, and there's the playpin holding him in. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. The split is there. Fly will fall. Appreciate is there, but Appreciate might actually be in the wrong place as there's the Windwalk as well as the right clicks, the stun. The silence up from Skywrath Mage as the Brewlings continue to chase. There's the other stun up, and Kiwi gets the double kill. Important for him as that's able to get him his Blink Dagger. Good blockage actually here by the Treants, and I don't know if they can capitalize on this. Maybe they can. Omega Poner is going to go ahead and move in, right clicks. Does, of course, also have access to that Grave Chill, but I think he's just going to right click him to death. And, of course, Kiwi's just kind of sitting it here, and I don't know what you do there. I would laugh at myself the entire time and kind of just giggle at
You
what
buy
just
your
happened.
blink, you buy a TP, so
Yeah, that's
not
what he
losing any
did.
gold.
He did buy out, as we saw right there. But bottom lane, getting pressured. Tower will fall. They do throw out the playpen, Hawaii that is, but no one there to back him up. No one really able to follow that up.
What I wanted to mention before this game state changes too much is in the bottom lane, the tri lane, I actually think it didn't really, like, it looked dire favored, but it wasn't dire favored in terms of the carry. I think both carries were essentially even in terms of the Ember Spirit and the Drow. The Drow actually had 20 more CS when I last looked. It was 40 CS on the Drow, 20 CS on the Ember Spirit. So when you look at carries, but
Blink Ravage, Blink Ravage, huge. 2 heroes now. Kiwi on the run. 45 seconds until split. Not gonna be available anytime soon, so he gets killed quite easily. They do, of course, have the consolation prize of that top tower from Darkseer with his ability to apply constant pressure in a lane, but now a Roche tower is gone. Another Roche tower gone before, and they're threatening a second one, the side of Void Boys, that is. If they could secure this tower, the Dire's ability to rotate to Roche is significantly limited. And of course, with their Roche taking potential from the minus armor, the bonus from the Drow. Middle tower will fall, but a great playpen as well as Static Storm. But Hawaii is probably just going to die in the middle of it. A great vacuum as well, but just nothing happening off the back of it. It looked great.
They
It's
played the
flashing,
objective.
shiny. Yeah. GKTA almost dies, and so does Hawaii. You know, like, it looked great and sexy out of the Dire, but it's flashy.
But
Yeah. They need the chains after that, I feel, right? That's the chain, or I guess the clap split is the real follow-up after that vacuum.
yeah,
That's what kills everything. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. They were just kind of a little far, his teammates. But yeah, so what I was going to say, the difference in the tri lane was actually on the supports, and that's where the gold was in Dire favored. But since there was that little bit of engaged mid, and that looked Dire favored, but now the Void Voice has made a couple good rotations as well.
No, and I think the rotations have netted more. And if we go to the net worth graph, which is more than the gold earn graph, guys, which is more important these days.
Look at that swing.
Yeah, it's a very important swing, and we can definitely see, or we can say that swing is more important to see than the previous graphs, because it isn't gross gold earned, it's net worth, which is a relative that changes based on deaths and kills, etc., as you guys all mostly know. But anyways, Mercy Please, firing up some creeps, birds, farming up a wave and pushing a tower, fly in the nearby area. They are going to lose this bottom tower, which is a Roche tower. Always harping on the fact that the Dire was losing on Roche towers. Maybe the Radiant won't, as they are going to TP in. Pat Soul's the first one there, does get the Gust. For the pushback on to Little Mag. He is silent stuff for a little while, gets swapped back in, stun there as well, right clicks Gush, as well as an Anchor Smash. He does pop the mech, taking quite a bit of damage, but meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, Pat Soul getting absolutely obliterated from both of that shield and the Ion Shell. Maybe his teammate will be there in time, but it doesn't look like Wave, able to give vision. It doesn't look like he's ever going to get enough mana to be able to use his Remnant, which means he's trapped down here permanently. Kiwi is there, though, but the Ravage is there before he can split, and so his teammate dies. Even if he uses the split and he gets a kill on Appreciate, the split was used, but he's not going to get anything else. The Skywrath Mage actually comes back from the corner, able to get a decent Mystic Flare, but gets cleaned up because of it, and now the Brewlings are on the run. The stun go out. Mercy Please, and Omega Power, the one who is low, is going to be able to clean up this kill, and 4 heroes are down from the side of the Dire, and what look like some good plays and some decent movement from the Dire side turns into great movement for the Radiant side, and a great fight from them. And Niz, well, that fight recap showed me absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I know, right?
Niz, be my fight recap, please.
So Kiwi was top. Kiwi was top defending any kind of push on the tier 1, and he TP'd bottom to get to the fight. But of course, the closest tower is the tier 2. So Fly actually knew that it was going to take Kiwi quite a bit of time to get there, and he actually chose to go up top and secure the tier 1 tower. So he was able to clean that up, and then he showed up at the fight basically the same time Kiwi got there. And yeah, then the fight was already, a little Radiant favored, Void Voice favored to begin with at that point. But it was just good good response from Fly just to say, you know what, like I've got the ability to TP and be all over the place. I might as well go and take this tower. So even if this fight does go poorly for us,
Ooh, what timing.
then we got something on the back of it.
I don't know if you saw that, but right as he summoned Treants, the spirit went in, and Silence is going to go out on Hawaii. They do get the swap as well, and Kiwi's dead. He does get off his abilities before, and it's on a lot of heroes, but again, like a Ravage in the middle of the desert. It may look good, but it doesn't do anything, as his team isn't there. And actually, Fly, going to be doing a little bit more as CTB's forward, but he's going to get cleaned up by that Mystic Flare. No! Great movement out of him at the last second is going to allow him to live, and now Super Hot Fire is on the chase, but the Vacuum is going to clean him up anyways. Appreciate with the stun onto Super Hot Fire. Trying to get the slow from Pat Soul, getting it onto Little Mag, doing some right clicks. There's the Soul Assumption. Little Mag probably going to die, but Pat Soul dies first. And now Omega Poner is on the run, probably going to get cleaned up. We did see Hawaii revive as there is a short respawn time. It's early on in the game. But 3 heroes die from the Radiant. 3 heroes from the Dire. Even trade as far as numbers go. But if we factor in what happened with the... Yeah, it definitely went Dire side in the numbers. But I don't know what to think about that too deeply, Niz. I don't know if you have anything really to say about that fight, because they got about 1,000 more gold and experience out of it, with even factoring in the Disruptor kill. The Dire side, that is.
I thought the whole call to kind of go into Roshan there was a little bit crazy to begin with. So, I mean, it was, what, 1,500 gold swing, something like that, in favor of Gucci.
Oh, Remnant back. Mercy, please. Is going to be able to catch out Hawaii, though, and he glimpses him, but he was invis. Hello. You glimpsed me towards you. He does die. So that will be a free kill on a support. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do catch the end of Nature's Prophet Life as his corpse does get sucked back into the earth. Kiwi, Little Mag team up together to be able to nab that one. And a little more of an important kill than the Disruptor. But to be fair, the game state really doesn't allow for either team to capitalize on the deaths, so they end up being even in that sense. But Prophet dying is definitely... He's actually died 4 times so far. He has not had the best game as far as survivability goes, and Prophet is one of those heroes where you don't want to die. You want to participate, but you do not want to die. There are some heroes where participation and dying kind of go hand in hand, and that's fine, because your team gets a lot off of it, off of your death, your sacrifice. But Prophet's one of those heroes that needs to maintain a net worth. And GKTA is probably in big trouble here. There's the Mystic Flare. The glimpse is off onto Prophet, but, you know, hey, thanks for the TP back to base, man. I got the kill. I'm back to base. Summon up some treants, go back to farming. And that's the kind of kills he needs to get some net worth back in his pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. He was 6th in net worth in the game as the Prophet, and that's not what you want to be. He actually just moved up to 5th with that.
Well, he didn't get a Midas, so that does explain why a usual Prophet would be higher than him. But you're definitely right. He was lower than he should be.
Yeah, let's see a little bit of. No, I thought Dire was grouping for a second. I think they're very wary. There we go. Wary is the word I was trying to use of any kind of Roche attempt now. So they're just kind of hanging around. Mm-hmm. That was very good use there.
Well, you know, and just looking off them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, Omega Poner actually did some good stuff there. As his familiars were getting attacked up around here, he actually went and he paused with it on the high ground just for a second, just to see if they could still attack it, and they threw another attack. So he moved it away, put them stone form, and then he immediately pinged out the fact that they have a ward there on the high ground. Just slight little play, but those are the things that can make a big difference in a game. You well, see a smoke from 3 running right into him.
They're definitely going to amount to something. The glimpse, though, yeah, a little bit off the mark. Will Omega TP out? I don't think so. The answer is no, as he does get cleaned up. And what I was going to say to you is I definitely agree.
Oh, he knew. Okay, he knew from the ward there. Okay. I was just like, that was just a random glimpse. He had no idea where he was going to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes that can... Oh, Fly actually in the top lane. Meanwhile, with Mercy not able to get there quick enough. Not sure exactly how that went down, but Fly is down. And meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they're going to lose... no, Vizitor's already dead. Sorry, they're going to use the split anyways, I guess. And then they're going to chase him to appreciate. No, split hasn't been used. I'm seeing things. Ember Spirit's Fire Shield looks like a Bruling. And Herp to dirt. Raptors. The Ravage. Not what... He got glimpsed. I don't even know what's going on in this game, guys. Kiwi, under tower, split. Not going to die. Mercy Please, though, is going to die. Is there, of course, is there Static Storm, and that's a constantly applied silence. No way he's Anchor Smashing. Does get it off finally, but the dot damage should be enough to clean him up from the Brewing. It does, and there was a lot of weird things there, and half of that was because RaptorZ is stupid, but the other half is because that Ravage was hilarious, and Disruptor gets cleaned up by Pat Soul, even though he gets clips back to base. Super hot fire, getting right click down. Fire shield's great, but it's not great against right clicks. Does do a great side of fist there to dodge those right clicks as well as the Soul Assumption, but it's not going to be enough. He doesn't have enough health to continue on, and again, the fight recap kind of functionally useless, as it's not.
Don't ask me.
Don't ask you? Okay.
It was all over the place.
Well, chat, Kappa HD or Kappa is the question or the poll of the day. How did that fight go? Kappa or Kappa HD? No, I'm kidding. Kappa HD, RaptorZ. It went both. But what I was going to say is, I think out of a lot of that chaos, though, I think the team that capitalizes on it most afterwards is going to get the most out of it, because for the most part, it's an even game. Yeah, Void Boys has a decent team net worth advantage, and that's important to note. But the experience is relatively even, which means that, you know, the abilities, level 11s, relatively close for each teams. Both teams should all have access to level 11 ults by this point on critical heroes, except for some supports, obviously. Most supports actually draw Visage, of course, being the exception with his ability to just consume farm with those familiars. But yeah, getting that Roche, I think, is kind of what swings it in favor of Void Boys in my favor. But I think before I would have slightly said Dire Side. But getting that Roche, very important. And now that they have it, of course, there's always two kind of schools of thought. I personally kind of think you should take both when getting Aegis, but you either farm with it, and knowing that the other team is not going to really pressure you, and you kind of slowly constrict them, farm more off the map than they do, and then yeah, sure, both teams are farming, but you're farming more than them, so it doesn't matter. Or B, you fight immediately and take advantage of the second life. Personally, I think you should farm then fight, but I don't know how you think the game state is now, Niz, because I don't really feel like it's even anymore.
No, it's definitely Void Boys favored right now. However, it still feels close. Like, it feels like one team fight. If one team fight goes Gucci favored, the game's almost even again. And it's part of that 6.82, but part of that's just the fact that both drafts are actually very, very close in terms of what each team can do. I don't know. I think Ember's always a ticking time bomb, but I don't know. Maybe Gucci has this late because of the Ember, and the fact that you have Darkseer.
Well, Ember's also very good against. Ember's great against split push heroes too, like Prophet, Drow, Visage, because he can leave a remnant and have bots, right? It allows his mobility to be exponentially greater than it was previous to not having bots, and the reason that is of course because he can remnant bots somewhere else, come back, but he could leave a remnant at the other spot and go back, and he can just kind of bounce back and forth up to 3 times total. And so he can definitely react quickly, but these birds are definitely causing havoc, and guess who picked up their Aghanims, and with the next resummon is going to have a level, or three birds, not level 3 birds, 3 birds in total, and those get the Drow aura, and that Drow does have quite a bit. Oh, Ravage, I hear it, and a Refresher, but the great Static Storm going to prevent the second usage of that. A Mercy Please might actually die before, but the swap is there from Appreciate, and he still gets the Ravage off. Little Mag going to fall. 3 heroes on the side of the Dire, and there's going to be a lot of structural damage dealt here. If Super Hot Fire dies, this split from Kiwi really isn't going to matter at all. Pat Soul's like, fine, man, I'm going to sacrifice my life to the Blood Gods. We have a buyback from Darkseer. Will that matter? Yet to be determined. Blink away from Drow Ranger. She just wants to consolidate with her team and take structural advantage, obviously being this T2 and possibly even a T3 here. But the 2 supports are going to respawn really soon. I didn't see Mercy Please set that up. His team was a little bit far away, and it almost turned sour, but off the back of great Ravage and a Refresher, Void Boys and Mercy Please move into a very commanding position.
Ravage is good. 2 Ravages is better.
Swap. Actually, Hawaii bursted down immediately, and now it's a
Later.
4v3. See you on the other side. Is 7 seconds until they have the Ember Spirit. I don't think you push here. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Right click going out.
They're poking.
They are going to get 1 on the Kiwi, dealing 320 damage, and now Patsoul has the choice of just going straight in onto this Skywrath Mage, but that ultimate as well as the vacuum, the Searing Chains, the combination, excellent execution coming out of the dire side as they're able to hold off this dive, and now Omega Poner off the back of that is probably going to get cleaned up as well with 3 heroes down. What looked like great plays turned into kind of horrible, and
that's terrible.
I think
that's painful because we both saw that was not going to go well.
Yeah, that was you dove into a Darkseer, vacuum. I kind of was dumbfounded by it because I mean it was really well executed, but just vacuum Searing Chains, 2 heroes done, immediately dead, and so it was. But yeah, I mean after that dive, do you think they still have the advantage? I'm inclined to say yes personally, just by how far the graphs are in their favor, but
I think the dive is really silly, but I think the fact that they won that team fight before and forced out the buyback, I think it was only Little Mag that bought back, but
still, Shiva's on him
still,
is so important.
Yeah, it was just Little Mag that bought back, but yeah, I feel like they're just getting a lot further ahead, and frankly, they shouldn't have thrown their lives away trying to push that high ground. Just basically getting a little too greedy there, but still, I think they're now even further ahead than they were before. Definitely in a good spot, Void Boys is.
No, I definitely agree with that, but got to be careful because not only is the comeback mechanic a little bit stronger in 6.82, as Reddit has thoroughly complained about, and so has most of the internet, but on the other token, that doesn't mean that comebacks always happen. With strong play and execution, you can avert the other team's potential, but Bird's coming out.
I've talked about it before with these tier 2 towers being a resource. And
the Blink Ravage, they're going to use it well. He is going to get silenced up, so the second Ravage should be prevented for a while. But actually, with that haste rune, they're not going to be able to get the playpin off on him. And that Ravage first used and the Blink back in for the second one is even bigger. Hawaii going to go down. He did get a decent Static Storm up, but I don't think it's going to be enough BKB pop by Patsoul as they're all still 5 standing. The right clicks from the Birds are absolutely eviscerating Kiwi's health as he drops down to half HP, bottling up. But I think the Radiant side is looking to continue on with this. The wall was used, and it's really not in that good of a spot. Honestly, they could go ahead and press up with the next creep wave, but only the supports fell, so maybe that's their thought. Actually swap and silence onto Kiwi. They might be able to get him. They do. Soul Assumption was enough to clean that up as Visage does net that kill, and the next creep wave is about 5 seconds away. Both of the supports are 4 seconds away. They have the option to go high ground here, and maybe they do. They do get the Searing Chains, Ember Spirit that is, but only on Treant, so not that big of a deal. 4 heroes in base. Mercy please blinking forward. No Ravage for him, but he doesn't care that he just got glimpsed back. Buyback from Kiwi as they look to turn this Little Mag, taking quite a bit of damage, and he's forced to use his mechanism, but he's getting turned on and silenced again, and actually now Kiwi's buyback is going to turn into a dieback, and this is the beginning of the end if this continues to happen. Super Hot Fire going to get stunned up and taking quite a bit of damage. Visage does die. However, that means the minus damage is going to get locked onto Skywrath Mage. Anyone near him is going to deal less damage. Omega Power, get glimpsed back, does use that Soul Assumption once, now twice, now GKTA going to fall first, and he does. Fly does fall right after that, but Super Fire is going to fall as well. And with 4 heroes on the sideline, only 2, Fly buys back so he can TP in, summon trees. Patsoul as well, buyback from Vengeful Spirit, she's looking to come. They want to end this game right here, right now, Niz, they're done. They have decided that the victory is theirs, and honestly, I don't see a way that the Dire Side's going to stop this Rax push, nor the next one. Even with the buyback from Ember Spirit, he's only got a Disruptor to work with against Ravage coming off cooldown and so much on the side of the Radiant.
Yeah, that's essentially a game, and it all came off the back of that tier 2 tower. And I've talked about it before with kind of using those tier 2 towers as a resource. And think of how much more difficult it would have been for Void Boys to have smashed and really won a team fight had they been fighting uphill into the tier 3. It would have been much, much harder for them to get as good Ravages off and everything. But, you know, they used that tier 2 as essentially as a resource, and Gucci decided to defend it, and they weren't really in a good spot. They were kind of far back. They'd lost position. They'd lost their concave on the tower, and that meant that they were relatively grouped up. And that means Ravage is going to do a lot of work. And Mercy Please blinked in, ravaged. Then he ran around with haste for a little bit and refreshed and blinked back in to get an even better Ravage. But they were already quite a bit ahead before that. But I mean that was just a good demonstration of what I've said time and time again, of how you can use those tier 2 towers as a resource to help you push uphill. Because some teams will try to defend it, and sometimes you can just get a better fight on those because they're much harder to defend towers than actually trying to push uphill.
That's what got them the kill on Kiwi, and of course Kiwi, aka Impulse's buyback, turning into a dieback. His team, maybe him, I don't know, they were out of communication, and him getting caught out and dying back was the end, and that was all off the back of exactly what you're saying. So I 100% agree with you, Niz. It's one of the most important parts about going high ground that you need to have in your playbook as a team. But that's it. Void Boys moves on, and we're excited to see them going into the next round, guys. Of course, this will be round 4 action. But if you enjoyed this cast, please follow below on Twitch TV/DotaRaptors. Click that little button. It helps a lot. If you guys enjoyed our cast and you really want to show more support, check out youtube.com/DotaRaptors, where all of the VODs are archived. You can go like them, watch them on your own leisure. And if you enjoy listening to Nizcast, enjoy his insight into Dota, and want to follow him on Twitter, you can check him out at Nizcast. And that'll do it for us, guys. We'll see you into round 4 as the next game gets underway.